off as we head onto Summoner's Rift. Not Summoner's Rift, sorry, not just yet. We're still in Champions Select, Rusty, for game number 1 between Saint and RNG. LeBlanc and Trundle are going to be the two bands that are fired out away by Saint, as Vladimir and Rise be taken off the table by RNG.
Yeah, the Vlad Rise standard bans to be seen from RNG, of course. Respect where it's due to the solo laners of Saint. I've already spoken to them being strong individual members, so they do their due diligence.
And Siva is going to be a ban that is taken away by Saint. Seems like they don't want Uzi to be playing that champion, his third most played champion in the summer split of the LPL.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the Siva being taken away from Uzi feels like such a LPL ban in particular. Take away the best utility champion that is everyone's best champion, full stop, in the AD carry role.
As Rek'Sai is going to be the final ban coming out from RNG, the so-called staple red side bans that we've seen thrown out once in a while. Rek'Sai, Vladimir, and Rise will be coming out of RNG.
Yeah, it's the epitome of standard. I mean, the flip side makes sense. Blue side and red side, you've got target against strong bans. It does leave open a couple of options, though, based on how targeted Saint were.
Let's see what champion you're going to be fighting over for control of. We were talking about before the broadcast. Swain is a very heavily contested champion between these two teams. 4 players in this match play the champion.
Yeah, surprisingly so, weirdly enough. RNG able to flex it. Saint can, but it feels like they would rather have other options. This being up as well, I would expect locked in unless they decide they want the Braum over it. But with Bard, with Alistar, everything's still standing. Supports aren't too big of a deal. More so that Siva was taken. Karma does make a lot of sense.
And it is Mike Dong's most played champion as well. They have not used it in the mid lane across both Otto and Snoopy. So that should be a bottom lane Karma coming out as an instant lock-in of Hecarim and Victor will come out of RNG.
That just screams to me that they mean business. I say that as they're all smiles on camera, but that's an immediate lock. MLXG getting the Hecarim, and you look at those MVP standings earlier and you can see junglers creeping up. Well, this is one of the big reasons as to why.
Hecarim is also another one of those big contested picks. Once again, 4 players in this game play Hecarim or have played Hecarim in the summer split of the LPL. Top laners and junglers share that champion. So it still could be a flex pick for RNG as well.
It absolutely could be. Even a denial from Acorn and March as a flex from themselves. So RNG's first rotation, quite strong.
Let's see what Saint decides to respond with during their second pick rotation.
It should be the Graves, and I think the Malzahar does make a fair amount of sense.
And I do lock that one in. Graves and Malzahar will be picked up here. We saw Malzahar played in all 4 of the matches that were played in the LPL yesterday. He's going to be seeing some play in the first game of today as well.
Increasingly more and more popular, honestly, this Malzahar. Very good in pick composition, something that the Karma can lock down with you. Of course, not having a Gragas in that jungle role might make things a bit harder. The fact that they go for the Graves, they have damage, but not that engage tool.
And on the side of RNG, they're going to go for Ashe and Alistar as their next 2 picks for their bottom lane. So it seems like they're saving that either the top lane or jungle pick for last.
And speaking of engage tools, RNG have got it everywhere they could possibly want. Big damage threat's already going to be there, and Uzi locking down the Ashe. Going to be taking a back seat.
He's only played 1 other game on Ashe, so this will be the second time he takes the champions to Summoner's Rift. Decides not to go for the Caitlyn or the Ezreal, which he is more fond of. The flip side, still waiting to see what STYZ is going to be locking in as his AD carry of choice. And the top laner for Acorn, as well, is still up for debate. He is showing between Ezreal and Caitlyn, his 2 most played champions. He does lock in the Ezreal, and we will get Acorn picking up Trundle in the not Trundle, sorry, Rumble in the top lane.
No, it's funny that you mentioned the Trundle. It is banned away, unfortunately. A Looper would have jumped on that as an option. The Rumble being locked in, though, giving the counter as a potential to RNG, they have just secured themselves a stock standard comp.
They certainly have, as they lock in Shen as their final pick, and that will be a top lane Shen for Looper. A very stock standard comp. I believe if you just swap out the Victor for the Malzahar, we see the very famous pick comp that's been being run in the LPL recently.
Yeah, Victor still does the same thing. It's just that Malzahar has that immediate lockdown. Victor does still have a stun and can be quite complimentary in that respect, but rule of thumb at the moment is get the Hecarim, Shen ult the Hecarim, get into the backline and kill everybody, plain and simple, because you cannot take him out, and Horse has a giant shield on him.
And we saw Team WB use the Shen quite effectively in their match against Newbie yesterday, using the Shen to get lots of very early stand uniters on towards their Alistar support to dive bottom lane over and over again. Sacrificed his top lane for it, but got a massive lead for the bottom lane in doing so. So we'll have to see if Lupa's going to be able to pull that one out. Akon taking Rumble to the Rift, his most played champion now. Very comfortable in this carry AP top laner.
Yeah, he definitely will be comfortable. And of course, Acorn up against Lufa is a big, heavy-hitting battle between these two.
It certainly is. Let's take to Summoner's Rift to see what the Samsung brothers can do against each other for Game 1 between Saint and RNG. Whoa! That's a big Cloud Dragon symbol. I don't think we've gone that close before, Rusty. So we loaded the Summoner's Rift for game number 1 between Saint and RNG here. Everyone's just going to be running across the map, fanning out, scouting out for some vision.
That was pretty deep into the cloud symbol, that's for certain. You're right, everyone is fanning, and that is the key word as we are at level 1 in this first game. RNG not looking for the deep wards, nobody looking to counter invade or prevent any lane swaps. If somebody chooses to do it, it will be blind.
We're going to be able to take a look at the Keystone Masteries that are picked up here. Nothing too surprising coming out from the teams. Warlord, Bloodlust for Ashe, further battle for the Azrael. Bond of Stone going to be coming out from Alistar, so neither the Thunderlords that we see someone like Marta run quite frequently, or the Winter Speaker's Blessing that got nerfed slightly.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing a fervor of battle on Lupa either, actually going for the Grasp of the Undying. A bit of extra sustain. And because he's playing against Acorn that's more of a Spellweaver, they won't be trading auto attacks as heavily. And so he opts towards the better of the two Keystone Masters, in my opinion. As you're right, Marta not giving them the Thunderlord slap combo. He's going defensive.
Seems like he wants to help Uzi out. Uzi even picking up Warlord's Bloodlust means both Keystone Masteries for the bottom lane duo of RNG, being very defensive. And so RNG are going to be spotted out by a ward as they move in towards Saint's jungle. They're going to find STYZ and Maidong. Marta takes a little bit of damage for this. In fact, half his health gone. After face checking the Gromp cam. Takes even more Qs coming out from both Maidong and STYZ.
Yeah, he's going to keep getting poked out. So Marta comes into lane missing a whole lot of health. It shouldn't matter too much, of course. Has the Relic Shield, can choose to go for his Triumphant Roar at level 2 if things get too dicey. Between an Ezreal and a Karma, they don't have a whole lot of kill threat. It's more just damage output. We'll see how RNG play this one out, though, as we are in standard.
Well, Australian lane, so to speak.
Yeah, albeit upside down.
His AD carry and supports are on the top side of the map. Neither started a jungle camp to start the game off. Marta and Uzi, we saw them try to contest and take a whole heap of damage for it. They're still actually getting poked very heavily by Maidong and STYZ. And just like that, Triumphant Roar was taken level 1 by the Alistar, forcing to try and heal Uzi up very early on into this laning phase.
The Bond of Stone actually going to be quite handy, at least this early in. They're not having a great time. Uzi, in fact, looking to recall potentially, changes his mind, has got a potion, but is not opting towards using it. And generally speaking, they're just zoned away.
Certainly are. Marta still taking a lot of damage. Maidong just weaving in auto attacks in between every single spell cast he gets out. Up in the top lane here.
Yeah, he's not missing either. This is rough, but this is where you actually have to draw your eyes towards the jungle of RNG. MLXG is working on his red buff, but I think he's going to be too low to actually commit towards any kind of ganks. He'd have to recall first. That'd be risky business, yet he almost needs to be there.
We saw both junglers start on the bottom side of the map. MLSG looked to take down his Gromp. We saw March start at the Krugs. So full jungle camp coming out, jungle clear, sorry, coming out from both of them. So they'll both be on the top side of the map as this wave crashes on towards RNG's turret. If they were looking to avoid standard lanes, this really shows why.
Yeah, well, an Alistar's never really had a great laning phase, and a Karma and an Ezreal are always going to be good in the 2v2 for the poke and the damage that they present themselves. The risk is actually engage from RNG. If the Alistar ever gets the flash headbutt pulverize, Would not be surprised, as yeah, you can't really tell at this stage who wanted the standard or was trying to avoid it, as they've met each other. But it feels like, you're right, RNG probably didn't want it.
So we even saw March actually up towards the top side of the map, looking to try and dive them, but heads back to base. Lots of pings coming up from Saint to spot out MLXG, or kind of predict where MLXG was inside of his own jungle. Now moving on towards the Raptor.
There's a lot of pings trying to say where he is, and they are entirely wrong. He has actually invaded, but it's an aggressive move from MLXG. So in a position where he could be undetected, what it actually means, though, by those pings, is that Acorn's going to have to be a little bit more careful, or he runs the risk of being ganked.
We move back to the top lane again, whereas Mata and Uzi are now pushing back out towards STYZ and Maidong. They're fairly healthy at the moment and pushing this wave on towards Saint's turret.
Yeah, they'll be fine, honestly. Like, it was equalized entirely once it crashed onto the turret and they weren't dove, or they actually managed to catch up. There's a lot of damage once again. We mentioned that from Saint. Laning phase is not going to be a weak point from this team, but it's always going to be equalized in an Alistar lane. He's got to heal.
Yep, coming from the LPL, Saint very well known for their early aggressive laning, and they prove that in almost every single game they play as well. So no surprise here, but RNG know exactly how to play against that match, or against that playstyle, so to speak.
I feel so forced saying that Saint come from the LSPL. Because I feel like you go down the roster and it's like I can name most of them that aren't. Acorn, of course, being added to the roster, a star player in his own right. He does have big shoes to fill, though, in this particular series.
So move back towards the mid lane. Neither of these mid laners took teleport coming into this match, both opting to go for the Flash and the Ghost. They have gone back to base to pick up a couple of items, upgrading the Hex Core coming out from Victor, whereas Malzahar does go for the Lost Chapter as his first item.
So unique utility that Snoop is going to have whilst he's now roaming top lane is that Malzahar does not need to have Cleanse against an Ashe in the composition. You've got a Spell Shield there. So if you play it right, you should actually be fine. I mean, Cleanse traditionally taken to avoid the stun that could hit you. Of course, it's a long stun because you've got that magic shield. You'd expect good things from this pick, and once again, great reasons to have the champion.
Yep, so opting for the more utility-based summon spell with Ghost. Let's see if you can utilize it effectively in this game. But so far, it's just been the two teams farming up against one another. Xiaohu moving deep in towards Saint's side of the jungle, puts a ward down over towards the Raptor camp, which March wants to try and clear away here, but MXG's here as well, looking to try and jump on top of him. We'll try to go in and take this Raptor camp down.
They're playing with fire.
Very aggressive coming out from RNG, but they are successful in being able to push March out of his own jungle.
And I think the only reason that was successful is they're actually ghosting for March.
Yeah, there goes the ghost from Xiaohu. He's going in, flashes on top as well. We'll get the Stand United to keep himself nice and topped up. They're still chasing on. MLSG with the charge out will be able to pick up first blood on towards March. That was really aggressive from RNG.
Yeah, with the Shen ultimate ready to go, there is no real threat of dying. Hecarim also able to cancel the Malzahar ultimate if it comes to it, and ticking 6 at the right time. And the Hecarim, pretty big deal, and it all starts because there is no collapse from Saint. Snoopy was there, but he wasn't actually actively present.
And on top of that, Loop is able to head back to base, pick up his Barmy Cinder, and immediately teleport down towards the bottom side of the map, picked up all the Seers that was about to crash on towards his turret. So be able to farm that up quite nicely against Akon. So there is a teleport discrepancy between the two teams for the next couple of minutes.
Correct. There is a window of opportunity if Saint were to try and get something done. They will have a level 7 Acorn, so his ultimate's going to be available. The Equalizer very handy for situations where they might want to dive. And that's where March actually comes into play. He's going to have to set all of this up. But we look at Saint's team composition, and this is actually my biggest concern for them moving forward. They have a lack of crowd control if Snoop is not involved. And so they want to actually get combos down where they've got the Equalizer with the Graves ultimate. They have a lot of line-based burst damage. Same thing goes for the Ezreal. But they want a Kite. Their only engaged tool is actually the Malzahar. So my rule of thumb is I would imagine Snoopy's killing MLXG in these fights.
Saint now making that aggressive teleport play towards the top side of the map. Uzi going to be in a lot of trouble as Maidong and March both class on towards the Ashe. Exhaust is going to go down as well. That's a dead 80 carry as he gets picked up by 4 members of Saint.
That was a phenomenal collapse from Saint. They already had the advantage. We were all aware of that fact, but that collapse was with aggression and successful. Acorn wasn't even necessary.
Certainly was. March and Maitong actually moving towards MLSG's side of the jungle, looking to try and contest for his red buff as Acorn and STYZ continue their push on the top side of the map. Uzi not going to be able to pick up any of this experience and also going to lose his top lane out of turret.
Yeah, coincides well with the turret push, a big stack of minions, and Marta was roaming around, so not going to be there to help the Ashe. Might be questioning that pick for the sole purpose.
But they're looking for March. MLSG's going to be able to find him, knocks him back, gets half his health in terms of damage, and just goes one-on-one against Saint's jungler. Takes him down again. That's 2 kills already on towards this Graves.
MLSG just smacked him, and that was all of his health bar effectively in a 1v1. Acorn needs to show respect, and it feels like they wanted the blue, now in trouble.
They've got to be really careful here. Snoopy is going to take the Chaos Storm from Xiaohu straight on top of his spell shield, so the first proc of damage doesn't do anything to the Malzahar, but successfully knocks him away from that fight. We even saw Acorn use his equalizer in that engagement.
Yeah, actually very good ulti usage from Xiaohu to zone away the Malzahar and at least stop him from getting an ultimate off. If somebody did get a Malz ulti, it would have been on top of that equalizer that Acorn put down, and that could have been pretty much guaranteed death.
Off the back of that, Snoopy's going to be able to pick up his blue buff, which Acorn and Maitong were very nice and leashing back for him. We are going to see Saint actually rotate STYZ and Maitong down towards the bottom side of the map now, pushing out towards the top bottom lane of turret. Well, Maitong's not there yet. He's decided he is Acorn's support at the moment.
They don't want to lose the top lane turret, so they're trying to hold the advantage they got in that respect. Doesn't reflect through gold, however. There's a big difference between junglers, and that is actually the weak link that you're expecting MLXG and the side of RNG to now work around.
It's pretty scary to know that Saint are behind in gold, even with the structural advantage. So RNG can make full use of that later on into this match. Uzi and Mata still going to continue to be on the top side of the map, though, which means we will have that delayed 2-on-1 matchup. STYZ and Maitong will be up against Looper in the bottom lane.
And Looper not really scared. Doesn't have a lot of armor to his name. In fact, is going for the magic resistance to deal with Acorn. And so Ezreal, you would expect, can push him out sooner or later. But for what it's worth, Loop have been holding for the same amount of time that RNG have now been able to set up and push. Means that turret should be traded if it comes to it.
This match now is going to start off on the Cloud Dragon. Acorn and Snoopy were going down as well. True Shot Barrage coming from Ezreal does not clip the ranged minions, so that should be a tower being traded for a Cloud Dragon, which Saints are going to be picking up in this bottom lane.
There's just so many Voidlings, and they're so angry. And they immediately go to the Scuttle Crab afterwards. No one's telling them what to do.
Well, we had a game last night, Rusty, where they were trying to take Baron on all by themselves.
Aggressive souls, aren't they? Bless them.
They were trying their darn hardest, it just wasn't enough. It's Saint now looking to try and take down the bottom lane outer turret and keep up the turret tempo that they've taken at the start of this game.
Yeah, they will start getting traded, depending on what RNG want to do here, because a good taunt isn't there.
Ripper's going to miss that one, so it doesn't connect with STYZ underneath the turret. The rest of his team is looking to try and collapse, but it fizzles out.
Yeah, once again, RNG, they had that top lane turret and maybe had an eye in on an opportunity to get a pick on the bottom side of the map. Could have translated immediately to the opposite turret being taken. And this is where you have to put your eyes towards Saint as a team and say, what is their strategy? Because for what it's worth, now both outer turrets are taken on the top and bottom sides of the map. RNG have got the easy, obvious objective. Saint don't.
That's a ghost coming out from MLXG, though. They're really looking for Acorn and Maitong. Mata finds him with the ward. There comes the equalizer, but they're going straight on top of the Karma. Will get taken down to start the fight off. MLXG is still looking for this as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands on top of Acorn. Mata gets locked down by the Malzahar ultimate, but it's going to stay alive thanks to Stand United. MLXG goes deep underneath the turret. They take down Acorn. Snoopy is going to be the next target. Saints are getting obliterated. Only STYZ left remaining, and he doesn't even clip Mata for the kill.
Oh, no.
Mata goes in, flashes forward with an angry pulverize, but doesn't connect onto STYZ, who is trying to run in towards RNG's side of the map. But the laser coming out from Xiaohu picks up the delayed ace for RNG.
Yeah, Xiaohu locks it down, and RNG get themselves an abundance of kills. A couple of interesting decisions from RNG as a whole. Of course, the flash pulverize on his ally doesn't exactly work with Mata, but they get what they came for, and now they get to accelerate the game even further. Even without turrets going down, that gold lead stretches.
It certainly has. It's now 2,000 gold in RNG's favor off of the back of that single team fight down at the bottom lane. They used their team composition so well. They got a nice flank onto both Akon and Maidong, and they were just sitting ducks down there.
Yeah, I don't even think they knew Maidong was actually in the bush. He was there trying to help Akon. And they were going for the rumble, changed their mind mid-flight. Oh, look, easy karma to pick up while we're down here. 2-for-1 special. Very well executed once again. Even Uzi saving the arrow for as long as possible, making sure that it hits Akon, recognizing that the free kill was already there on Maidong.
Let's see how RNG transition throughout the rest of this game. Now with a goldie, certainly going to look to be a little bit more aggressive.
Teleport used bottom, though. They actually want Akon again.
Now that's going to be Looper moving down towards the bottom side of the map again. Mata now looking for the combo. The taunt will be out from Looper in just a second. Gets as close as possible. Doesn't get the flash coming out, which it seems like he was looking for. He is in a lot of trouble. STYZ positions aggressively forward with the arcane shift to pick up the kill. So on the cross side of the map, same pick up a pick.
Yeah, Akon had his flash available. Looper was trying to be a prediction king. Has the right idea, does not execute. MLXG also able to go down because Trinity Force does a lot of damage, but it doesn't provide you with a lot. There's now Saint, they make a pick back. Still looking reasonably proactive, but their next step in the way of objectives is definitely lacking.
Arrow even came out from Uzi there, looking to try and connect onto STYZ as he's pushing for the mid lane outer turret. Does not hit. And Saint are going to continue their aggression and look to try and push forward for this mid lane turret.
Yeah, but once again, they're just A-ramming at the moment. Saint's actual strategy is not to get that middle lane turret. They're against a Victor. The best case scenario is that Snoopy gets the ult off on him, and they're able to collapse and put down damage. The fact that Marta's there means that's even unlikely. So Saint just have to respect that and back away.
Marta's being very cheeky here against Akon. He sees him and he knows he's behind the Rumble, but the ward being put down by Rumble spots out the Alistar and stops the cheeky strategy, but now that she's got a new target here, was aiming towards charging on top of the Karma.
And he has to be very, very cautious here on this Karma. Squishy champion with a squishy build. And a lot of damage actually capable from RNG. MLXG, we already mentioned, has the Trinity Force build. Also has Boots of Swiftness, so he can lock people down in dueling situations. The Karma's just a fly on the wall.
As RNG have now evened up the turret disadvantage that was created by Saint to start this game off, giving themselves a nice 2,500 gold lead over Saint. And continuing to apply aggression across the rest of the map.
Also awkward lane assignments again from Saint by putting the Ezreal mid. They have to have the Karma here, or Xiaohu will kill him. Plain and simple, the aggression that we're seeing was even threatening under the turret. RNG able to work the bottom side with all the vision they set up and hiding MLXG on the map. Even though he's on the opposite side, they don't know where he is. It means a lot of respect needs to be shown. And it doesn't give Saint anything, it's just holding on. They're bracing themselves for the eventual fight. But if you look at team compositions, an eventual fight is RNG's ballpark.
It certainly is, and they've been showing that. They've already had one massive team fight and came out on top with it. Gives us some time, though, to check on the items that we picked up by both these teams. Trinity Force was rushed out coming out from MLXG. Looks like he's going for a Hex Drinker as his next item as well.
It could be. I would not be shocked to see a Hex Drinker. It feels like he's definitely skipping the Cinderhawk aspect at the very least as a sneaky, sneaky Xiaohu. Unbeknownst to Saint.
He shows himself, puts the laser down towards March, gets some decent damage. The rest of RNG are grouping up towards the mid lane. They do have Shen Split pushing on the top side of the map. Akon is trying to do what he can on Rumble on the bottom side. As here comes Stand United on top of MLXG. They're looking for the flank. They're going to get it as well. Protobell comes out from Akon, but he gets taunted down and taken down. It's a good flank from RNG. Gets themselves another pick.
Such an annoying sound that Rumble makes on this client when he dies. Akon definitely being picked on. As now they look aggressively in the middle lane with it. Ash still has the arrow. And RNG are just playing a clean-cut game of League of Legends, revolving around the strong point of Saint.
We certainly are. MLXG, after the pick onto Akon, and is now going to look towards taking down the Mountain Dragon. The second dragon that has spawned in this game.
But look at the positioning as well from RNG as they have like a curve of vision and players around the Dragon Pit. Not only do they set themselves up with a pick onto Akon, they probably could have done that without the pick anyway. That's how well covered they were.
Saint do up to go for a trade though and look to take down Rift Herald. That should be going over towards March. Trading the objectives nicely here. It's a very late Rift Herald as well, so that'll be active until 39 minutes into this game.
Right on time.
RG looks to try and take down Red Buff as well, contesting for as many objectives and buffs as they possibly can against Saint, trying to suffocate them out of this game.
Got his spell shield, that's the important part. Ash Arrow's available.
Oh, flashes back in, gets the pulverize, and there's the combo of the enchanted Crystal Arrow. Forces a flash coming out from Snoopy as well as the Ghost. That was a cheeky play from Mata.
Yeah, very good combo. RNG, there's no reason for Mata to just use a headbutt and waste the shield unless they're looking for something. Disrespect from Snoopy comes back to bite him, and he does have to use those summoners. RNG used summoners of their own. The Ash Arrow was also expended. But there's cooldown reduction available in that respect. Uzi will be fine. Snoopy may not be.
Xiaohu's looking to try and get a flank in this middle lane, though. Goes in, puts the Chaos Storm on top of Maitong, who gets comboed by Mata. The final tick of that Chaos Storm will do enough to take down March as well. It's already a double kill. Uzi will get taken down as a trade, as the Equalizer gets put back on top of Mata. And all in all, it's a 2-for-2 trade between the two teams.
And Looper, I think, still had his ultimate available, so doesn't opt into using it to save Uzi's life. They get themselves a fairly even trade now, looking towards Xiaohu.
There is the Saint United coming out on top from MLSG. Jumps on top of Snoopy, but the spell shield stops a lot of that damage. Xiaohu actually has to flash away from Acorn, but Snoopy's going to get taken down. No summoner spells for the Malta, and a very late ultimate from MLSG will get dodged by STYZ.
Oh, no.
Acorn comes back in, picks up a kill, but here's MLSG. Goes one-on-one for the double kill, as they're able to take down STYZ as well.
Looper not hitting these taunts, but MLXG's damage is just so significant right now that he is dismantling the side of Saint. The Shen Hecarim combo, we mentioned it during Champion Select. We're now starting to see that really shine. And this is a big pony.
And they picked up a 4,000 gold lead for themselves already. I'm actually even able to take the blue buff away from Saint's side of the jungle. Mike Dong's being caught out here. Gets taken in by Looper. Not quite sure what the Karma's doing in the mid lane.
Trying to defend a turret when there was no turret that should have been defended. March actually making advances towards the blue buff, opposed to defending that with him. So miscommunications across the board from Saint, being picked on.
And it is a Hex Strength that was picked up by MLXG as well. So lots of damage coming out from this Hecarim, even as another long sword, so even more will be coming out from MLXG.
Yeah, actually nice. Nice pun, man. He'll probably have a more.
No pun intended there, Rusty, but thanks for pointing that one out. It's RNG. Look for a deep teleport down towards the top side of the map. Snoopy in a little bit of trouble. There's the flash storm coming up from Snoopy. Lands straight on top of the Malzahar as Acorn is in a lot of trouble. Uzi chases him down, takes a bit of damage from STYZ.
That's a lot of damage.
Mata blocks the ultimate to keep himself alive. There's the flank coming up from Xiaohu and MLXG. MLXG will fall to March, but Xiaohu's still chasing. It's still a 3-for-1 trade.
Yeah, every single individual member of RNG has a presence about them. Uzi and Marta get pushed out. MLXG and Looper's turn to go in and do their work. Xiaohu, the same time, is completely unimpeded in his actions. As Saint are trying to be coy, it's not going to work. No, it may work now.
He does get actually locked down by the enchanted Crystal Arrow, though. Mata misses the headbutt pulverized combo, but gets a good exhaust on towards March. Maitong taking a lot of damage. There's a flash forward from Uzi to pick up the double kill. That was insane from Uzi.
Yeah, two very clean kills from Uzi and Mata working together. Look at the movements that they're making. This is Saint trying to get things done, but they've drafted themselves to fail here.
Well, they're pushing even more forward. Looper not able to connect with the taunt. Going to get locked down by Malzahar's ultimate. Snoopy still chasing, but good lasers coming out from Xiao, who zone him. As STYZ gets hit by the headbutt pulverize coming out from Mata. He's living with 10 health at the moment. Acorn trying to get away. Will actually take down Mata, clipping with the equalizer. But the gravity field will pull him back in towards the team. And they trade the kill again as Xiao picks up the kill.
He pays for it with his life as a giant rumble just appears and makes loud noises. RNG, there is 28 kills in this game at 23 minutes, and they are in complete control. It's a 10,000 gold lead, Fish. My God.
And they're not stopping. Maitong still trying to find something for his team, but LSU just doesn't care. Charges back in, was trying to take the Raptor camp away, but is smited nicely by March.
Oh, he's doing it. I'm so excited. MLXG is going for the Runic Echoes Hecarim build. His AP Hecarim.
Well, he's got a more in there, Rusty, so he's got some attack damage
No,
too.
this is like a solo queue Hecarim build. Usually you just go the Runic Echoes first. But speaking of innovating junglers for no particular reason, he's gone Blood Razor on Rek'Sai, so let's just add another notch to that belt.
And MLXG has definitely been experimenting in his last 2 games. Martin now thinks he's a jungler as well as he goes for a nice double pulverize coming out there as MLXG charges into the backlines, forced to use the ultimate to run away. Gets out of range of the tether of Malzahar as well, so a big ultimate down from Saint.
And Akon's almost got his equalizer available. RNG back in.
Mata goes back in, pops the ultimate, only locks down Akon. They get a little bit of damage back down towards the Rumble. No Standing United being used by Lupa to get into this one, but the Chaos Storm on top of Akon does a lot of damage, forcing him back again. Mata in a bit of trouble, will get taken down by March as he uses his end of the line to take him down. RNG do lose a member. They still have the Shen split pushing though, but not too bad of a trade for Saint.
Yeah, you get what you can, honestly, on the side of Saint. They are going to lose objectives throughout this. Look at the vision that RNG have on the opposite side of the map to where they are fighting, because they want to control the area near the dragon so they can lock it down. They have so much control of Summoner's Rift, it's absurd. Saint are at least showing signs of life throughout this.
I mean, Saint did have a pretty decent early game to start things off from RNG, were a turret ahead to start the game off. But once again, RNG really played towards their win condition in every match they play, and they're doing it once again against Saint.
I mean, in game number 1, you can look at both of these teams' performances and say you can just understand that RNG are a better team right now in this game. There's no way around it. They're setting up for the Baron now. That vision we mentioned earlier now becomes quite important. In fact, they're doing it.
They've already started it. Lupa, Xiaohu, and Uzi. 3-man squad to try and take this down. Mata and MLXG not close enough just yet. They're trying to get in range. Scrying Orb comes out. The Baron is going to be taken down by the trio. Smite will come out from MLXG just to secure that one as True Shot Barrage almost clips it for the steal.
That's an equalizer.
And they're looking to try and get the engage. A flash will come out from Looper actually to try and escape. As there's the ultimate being flashed away, but MLXG just doesn't care. Charges into the backlines. Maitong's already been taken down by that Chaos Storm. As Rumble's going to pop and die, fly back down to earth and get executed there. The rest of RNG still looking to try and disengage us. Baron buff was already taken. They've came for Rusty.
They absolutely have. There are so many kills in this game. Sorry, that Rumble is phenomenal. RNG are looking very strong in this first game. You'd expect with this Baron buff that they have enough tools to try and break the base of Saints, something that they haven't really done yet. They're playing with their food.
They picked up some interesting items for it. We already touched on MLXG's build. Witsend are going to be coming out from Looper as well, so getting a little bit more attack speed on his Shen.
And for reference, the Hecarim going Runic Echoes is great because the ultimate scales 1-to-1. And so combo it with the burst that you have with your E as well. You could actually ruin people.
Not bad. You also have the Trinity Force proc.
Yeah, and the W heal. Scales with AP.
Some good damage that will come out from that Hecarim, and he's showing it in the team fights here. If you take a look at the rest of RNG's item, double Quicksilver Sash coming out from both the AD and AP carry, trying to get rid of the Malzahar ultimate.
Yeah, a necessity, honestly, from RNG. Even though they're this far ahead, they need to respect Malzahar's pick. They've got an Equalizer, they've got a Graves ultimate, they've got an Ezreal True Shot Barrage with it. And so their burst on single targets, and even in AoE lines off that single target, as a byproduct, is huge.
And STYZ has picked up some nice items for himself. Has the Blade of the Ruin King, as well as the Iceborne Gauntlet. And the Mana Immune completed. Comparison to the Infinity Edge, Hurricane, and Essence Reaver from Uzi. So 3 items for both these AD carries. Mid lane, Mouse has already picked up his Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Rumble has gone for the Leandri's Torment as well.
We already spoke towards lane mismatches. They need Malzahar to be dealing with the Victor. If STYZ stays down here, then he will just get bursted immediately. Interesting movements from Saint across the board. Giving opportunities for RNG to work.
RNG looking to try and push for this mid lane inhibitor turret. Lots of damage already on towards the inhibitor. Marta going very deep in. Only lands the combo on towards March. MLSG going to get locked down by the Malzahar ultimate. The first kill goes over towards Saint, but they've already lost their inhibitor turret. STYZ has to flash away from the Victor lasers. RNG do take down the inhibitor, losing their jungler for the trade.
RNG just go really deep, but they know that they can do it, and the aggression with which they are carrying themselves is just sealing the deal for this team. Very easy inhibitor take, honestly, from RNG. It looks like they stumbled a little bit, but you can appreciate why they're doing it.
Here's a ghost coming out from Xiaohu, looking to try and collapse on STYZ. Gets good damage down. STYZ tries to go toe-to-toe, but it's going to be the Victor that comes out on top of his fancy blue suede shoes, so it avoids some of those Mystic shots.
Yeah, the rest of Saint are actually on the top side of the map, which is why he is continuing this Xiaohu. It's now got a teleport to complement him, and this will be a turret taken.
Second inhibitor turret will fall for RNG as Looper is able to assist Xiaohu in taking the one down, immediately heads back. So unfortunately, it seems like there are a couple of technical difficulties on the map at the moment. Hopefully they'll be able to be resolved there. But still, RNG in very firm command of this game.
Yeah, they absolutely are. RNG have been clinical to an extent in their execution of these games. It feels like from this point, RNG, with at least the inhibitor down, with the second open for the taking, they should be able to secure themselves the remainder of this game. Saint, I feel like they've just set themselves up in such an awkward predicament.
It does seem like Saint is the one having a few technical difficulties there, so hopefully we'll be able to get them fixed as soon as we possibly can. But like you mentioned, Saint have just found himself in a very awkward spot. And this was honestly off of the back of a decent early game coming out from Saint against RNG. They put up a very good fight.
Yeah, they did. They got themselves the initial turret as well, so Saint had the tools, and it felt like the biggest problem with what they've done is not how they've played the map, it's what they've given themselves in terms of draft. They have no crowd control, and they're against just a raw team fighting composition out of RNG. They're designed to take you on in these skirmishes and in these late game team fights as a 5-man unit. And you look at the flip side from Saint, what can they actually provide that isn't damage? All they can provide is damage, and that doesn't actually get you over the line because you're so susceptible to death yourself.
Then you look at RNG's side of the map. They're going all out in terms of damage as well. I believe MLSG is going to finish up his build with a Dead Man's Plate as well, adding on to that increased burst damage that the Hecarim's going to dish out at the start of that fight. But they've really been using the Hecarim and the Shen combo very well to kick things off from RNG. Yeah,
one thing that they drafted for themselves is that Hecarim-Shen combo, and the fact that it has been used to a great degree of success is impressive from RNG. It's something that we're seeing more and more of, with the Shen actually being locked away. In fact, it's being banned away from a few teams because of how dangerous it can be. MLXG, he can play a Trinity Force-based Hecarim build and be very much damage-inclined, but because of that damage, he needs something to keep him alive, and that's where Shen comes into play.
And thankfully, we've been able to get those technical difficulties sorted between the two teams. We're back onto Summoner's Rift. Still in the first game between Saint and RNG, and Saints already have a massive gold lead for themselves. Whew, that is 14,000 gold in their favor right now.
And with this 14,000, there's no Baron. There is a Drake in 50 seconds, but ideally, they actually work around the bottom inhibitor.
Let's see what they decide to do, because we did see Xiaohu and Looper pick up that bottom inhibitor previously. Looper going to be able to clear out a couple of the pink wards that were placed down deep into the lane.
Still looking for opportunities, but Saint had already set up vision on this side of the map, so RNG aren't hiding themselves well enough. As now they make a movement. Two people down here, with one of them not having teleport, indicates that there is efforts now being placed there.
Here comes Xiaohu, looking to try and take it down. The rest of RNG on the top side of the map, getting some good chip damage on the top lane inhibitor turret. Looper and Xiaohu still continuing this two-man push. Will be able to take down the inhibitor. So second inhibitor falls for RNG.
I don't think they can kill Looper just quietly.
March actually has to use his collateral damage to give himself some distance away from this Shen, so major burst ability down for Saints right now.
Yeah, one of the big line-based spells gone as RNG
are
looking.
MLSG charges into the backlines, immediately gets stunned up, but there's a Shen going to get the taunt off as well. Lots of damage coming out from the Chaos Storm as they force Saint back on towards their fountain. RNG, they're going to be able to take down that final inhibitor and look to push for the win.
Yeah, keeping them within their fountain sums up that last team fight in this first game for RNG.
And they're going to go for it. The first Nexus turret has fallen. Saints are rather healthy, but it's so difficult to stop this 5-man push coming out from RNG, even with blink or with half health bars across multiple members of their carries. They just look to take down the Nexus. They go for a couple of flashy plays at the end there, but the Nexus will eventually fall after they take down as many of the same members as they possibly can, forcing them out of the Nexus defense. And they will take game number 1 against Saint.
And there you go. They had to end it with as many kills as they possibly could. But RNG, from the second they got onto Summoner's Rift, they made a couple of small mistakes, but never really looked like they were going to lose this one. And Saint, they tried something different. They're trying something new. They're adapting to the meta, but it's not going to be enough to get them any even semblance of close to victory.
And fair play to Saint, though. We've mentioned this throughout the game. Early game, solid for them again. They are a talented roster with some great players, like the likes of Akon that's playing at the top lane for them. But they collapse as soon as RNG start playing towards their win condition, which they executed phenomenally during this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Saint coming back off a win, you'd expect some positive momentum for this team. They did find opportunities such as this, picking up on the mistakes of RNG. But I do think this actually just reflects entirely from the draft. They set themselves up well enough here, RNG, to take out the Malzahar. An abundance of crowd control. The way that Martyr and Uzi even played around his magic shield was incredible. And they just executed on the map better. They just showed that, as far as game number 1's concerned, they are the better team.
They certainly have. And, you know, it still reflects in their standings as well. They're currently 9-1. Facing a off against the 1-9 Saints.
This was great.
This was fantastic from Uzi.
Yeah, this is Uzi making his own highlight reel, being able to find kills onto March and Maidong all the same with fantastic movements.
It certainly was. You know, it was a walking highlight reel coming out from Uzi. They played fantastic on the Ash, had a great game. So did the rest of RNG. And with that, they were able to take down game number 1 against Saint. We're going to go to a very quick break. We'll be back with game 2 in just a bit.